a very warm welcome to the Racing Post Greyhound TV Festive Friday preview show. Of course, it is a big day for greyhound racing on Friday, the 23rd of December. There's no horse racing in Great Britain or Ireland, so we're going to shine a light on the doggies. We're in good company as well. We've graded on nicely. We're in open class company because the open racing correspondent from the Racing Post, Tony Bullen, joins us in the studio to pick his way through the cards and hopefully find a winner or two. How are you, Tony?
Yeah, I'm very good, Dave. Santa's certainly come early. Good racing 23rd. Chance for the dogs to showcase itself and some good open race to get stuck into.
And this has always been a big day for the sport. We used to have the Bags Track Championship on the 23rd. And again, we're going to shine a light on some brilliant racing as well. RPGTV is going to be on for 12 hours, 10 a.m. all the way through to 10 p.m. We're going to pick our way through the cream of the crop, if you like, the open racing. We've got the Bet365 Challenge Cup, the RPGTV English Puppy Derby. Should be good. Should be good.
I mean, obviously the pups will kick off first, but all roads lead to Oxford then. There should be some good racing.
Absolutely. And I'll hear you ask, what is Festive Friday then on Racing Post Greyhound TV? Well, hopefully this graphic can give you a little bit of a clue. There are going to be 78 races from 6 different tracks. We've mentioned open racing in the afternoon at Towcester, featuring quarterfinals of the Racing Post Greyhound TV English Puppy Derby, and then in the evening that's when it all really kicks off. Open racing from Romford and open racing from Oxford, headlined 9:04 by the £10,000 Bet365 Challenge Cup final. So we're really looking forward to that. Remember, you can watch Racing Post Greyhound TV, Sky Channel 437, Freesat 250, Freeview 264, and of course on the stream, the live stream free at sportystuff.tv. Now, however you're watching us here, we're going to be on the Racing Post YouTube channel, the main channel, and we're also going to be on the Racing Post Greyhound TV YouTube channel. Do get in touch with us and mention in the comments below who you fancy, if you think myself and Tony are Wallies for our selections. We're going to be looking back on 2022 as well as looking forward to 2023 as well. So give us your comments. Remember to like and subscribe to the channels as well. Right, I think we should just crack straight on then. And we're going to start with the English Puppy Derby. Now, I do understand there's going to be 1 or 2 non-runners. We've had weather, freezing track, we've had traps malfunctioning, but we are at the quarter-final stage in one of the big puppy competitions of the year. Clues, of course, for the Derby next year over course and distance. And we are going to now look at quarter-final number 1. My understanding is that Team News and Lostrig Paddy in traps 2 and 6 are going to be non-runners. So we will be left with just the 4, but a big name on show here. In trap 4, Romeo Hotshot, the Romford Puppy Cup champion. And Tony, he was very impressive when winning his first round heat.
Yeah, he certainly was. This was him getting back on the right path, Dave. He won the Romford Puppy Cup in grand style and then just suffered a little bit of a blip. He went to Oxford and was eliminated from the collar, but this was Romeo Hotshot doing what connections know he can do. And this was him stepping up to a true 4 bends for the first time. And the question is, do you stay? Well, the answer was decisive because Romeo Hotshot got up on the inside and proceeded to draw clear from undulation. 29.40 run. Underlined a good run, Dave. Yeah, and you can sometimes pigeonhole the Puppy Cup winner as an early pace merchant because of the nature of the 400 at Romford, but I thought he showed tremendous middle pace there. And the task is obviously going to be easier if Team News and Lostrig Paddy are non-runners, as we expect they may well be. It's going to be very hard to oppose, right? Yeah. He's got a bit of an issue with Little Brothers Make It the Bear and Make It King Sydney because they both look identical. They're similar in speed to the bend and overall clockings, but you just saw on that VT, Romeo Hotshot's got the middle gears and the intelligent track craft, and I think he books his ticket in the semi-finals. Right, that will be 2 votes then for Romeo Hotshot. We move on then to quarter-final number 2, and my understanding, thankfully, is that they all go here, which is absolutely fantastic. Interesting runner on the inside who we are going to have a look at, and that is Ballymac Mags, who got to the final of the Bet365 Puppy Oaks. This was her semi-final success, and I think the most notable thing here, Tony, is this is the last time she was in trap 1, and that's where she goes in the quarter-final. Yeah, I mean, if she could inherit a set of trapping boots, Dave, she'd be very dangerous. I mean, she's good when she gets it right, but just that inconsistency at the boxes can just prove a little bit of her downfall. But she was the British Bred Oaks finalist, and when she gets it right and holds her position, you see she stays very strong.
Yeah, she's got a good draw up on the inside. It is an interesting race because there are good all-rounders. There is good early pacing. I was very impressed by Droopy's Google digging deep to score in the first round. How did you see this one?
Yeah, I was impressed with Droopy's Google. I mean, again, there wasn't a lot between the trio when they met on the 27th of November, and Droopy's Google really showed the right attitude, but he's drawn a little bit further out this time, Dave, and he's going to have to, A, counter the early moves, and B, track clever. And I just think that Ballymac Mags can bully her way round in a handy position, and you see how strong she stays in that VT.
OK, right, I can promise you that there will be different opinions at some point, but it sounds like it's 2 votes for Ballymac Mags as well in quarter-final number 2. Right, we move on then to the third quarter-final, and this one features the anti-post favourite Patrick Jansen's unbeaten Romeo Command, and we're going to have a look at him now. And he was digging deep here. He's asked a big question. Good time on the clock, 29.54. He'd impressed at Monmore, mainly really doing it from the front, but he had it all to do here, Tony, and he passed with flying colours. Yeah,
he's a brute. You could be forgiven for not realising that this dog is a pup, but he's got it all, Dave. I mean, again, a little bit tardy at the boxes, but intelligent, tracking around the first couple of bends, and when he sees daylight, this dog, I know he hasn't won the length of the straight, but it was a professional performance from a bright young star.
And of course, my girl Mia Ria poses. She goes up in trap 1. Savannah Fella is going to be a non-runner from trap 4, we think, which will give Lively Lauren a squeak. She's got a horrible draw. She's very quick. She's a very tight rally. She stuck out in trap 5, but with a start, she could be a play here because she'll have that vacant box inside.
Yeah, and what she's done, she's improved each look round Towcester. And again, that might not be such a bad draw now with a vacant box on her immediate inside. So yeah, that's an interesting runner. I mean, Free is clearly the fastest in the race, but if he gets stuck in the pocket, Crowd City, he needs the gaps to open up. But he looks a worthy favourite for heat and outright.
Okay, we'll come to the outright betting very shortly though. The expected non-runners will of course have implications on that anti-post market. Right, we move on then to the fourth and final quarter-final. Remember, these races will be on Friday afternoon at Towcester, live on Racing Post Greyhound TV. Understand that Clara Dazzler and Skywalker Isaac in 4 and 5 are intended non-runners here, so they may well not go, which will leave just 3 standing here, Tony. Pick the bones out of that. The bit of VT we're going to look at is Clara Dazzler. Unfortunately, doesn't go, but we want to look at the dog who finished second here because King Ezra finished well, as he did in his race before that, and he should have plenty of racing room on the inside.
Yeah, I mean, Rob Holt, who's got Tricky's Whist, will be delighted that Clara Dazzler is a non-runner because that gives his fellow, I think his fellow will set the target for the others to aim at, but King Ezra, he's got a solo on the inside himself, and I just think he can just bide his time, trap 3 throughout, and then prove too strong for that rival. But yeah, 3's going to set the target here, and the Irish Raider coordination should improve for a further look round, Dave.
Okay, so big mention there for King Ezra, who's got a great draw on the inside. Right, we have actually only had 1 round of this puppy derby, so we will have a look at the outright market as well. Prior to the non-runners coming in, we had Romeo Command at 4 to 1, Romeo Hotshot at 8, My Girl Mia at 12s, Undulation at 12s, and then it's 14 bar. I'm going to nail my colours to the mast very early and say I think Romeo Command is very special, and I think he's going to get the job done here. Do you agree, Tony? You picked out anything else?
No, I was with Romeo Command. Again, he can do it all ends. I mean, if he comes away running, there'll be a day when he does come away running and he's already got 29.25 in a trial at Towcester, done a 4.19 if they can produce that. Not sure they want to produce it in the second round, maybe the final, but yeah, he looks a serious talent. Droopy's Google, I did like the attitude he showed, but it's just that draw out in 5 that does worry me.
Yeah, remember there are 2 rounds, of course, to come until the final. This quarter-final, semi-finals, and then the final hopefully will be live on Racing Post Greyhound TV. But those quarter-finals definitely will be on Thursday afternoon. Right, we're going to move on then to, well, the business. On Friday night, live on Racing Post Greyhound TV, there's £10,000 up for grabs in the Bet365 Challenge Cup final. Before we get on to the final itself, Tony, unfortunately, in the world of greyhound racing, we're more often talking about tracks closing. But Oxford has been reopened, and what are your thoughts on the track so far?
It was fantastic for the area, for starters, because Oxford, when it was open, was a thriving venue, and I like the circuit. I think the circuit is fantastic. It's kept pretty much the same distances, Dave. The 450 is the standard, the sprint, the 6 bends, and what I like with it, it's got a nice run to the turn. Like your Crayfords and your Romfords, you can get like 4 or 5 dogs go to the bend in a line, and it's skittles. With Oxford, I like the banking. I like the fact that the natural early pace dogs can sort themselves out, and it's not a front runner's track. I mean, we've seen dogs come from last to first over 4 bends.
It's a long run home off that last bend.
The Frosty's 10 over the 6 bends. So as much as it benefits those early pace dogs, the long run to the turn, not the home straight, it benefits those finishers on the run for home. So yeah, it ticks a lot of boxes for me. It's up there as one of the best circuits that we've got at the moment.
Okay, yeah, them long straights, they burn up plenty of petrol. There's going to be no hiding place in this final. 650 metres, 4 minutes past 9, the final. Racing Post Greyhound TV's Daryl Williams will be live at the track as well, bringing all the insight and interviews with everyone involved. Let's have a look at the draw then, shall we? The all-important draw. Got some prices as well from the sponsors. Bet365 here. What a Swell party on the inside. The Oni Railer in at 7 to 1. Chelms Cub a middle 11 to 4. Gizmo Smasher is going to need a smash break 6 to 1. Liquid Lunch, the outsider at 50 to 1 for young trainer Tom Levers. Silver Spring Ria 9 to 2 in trap 5, and the likely favourite, certain to be favourite, Antigua Sugar in trap 6. At the moment 5 to 4, although we'll get onto that, but I think might go off a little bit bigger than that. Right, we are going to whiz through and have a quick look at each finalist. We will start with What a Swell Party, and this was last time up, semi-final win, and this is a stayer going the right way, Tony.
Certainly is, Dave. I mean, won an A4 at Towcester this time last year, December last year, and didn't really build on it. Obviously, the opening of Oxford, she won on her very first start over the 450 metres, and I like the way she ran behind the Chelms Cub in the earlier round, and I just think that What a Swell Party, this was a good run. You've got to take into account how slow this track was on Saturday. So it's a back run Antigua Sugar from that position. That was a hell of a run, and I think she's got a great make-up in the final.
Yeah, she did come from a long, long way back in the black jacket there to swoop and score, and she's going very much the right way for Kevin Hutton. She's got a good draw on the inside. Right, we'll move on then to Chelms Cub, who of course won the Toaster Hunt Cup and has translated that form nicely and been seeing out the 650 metres strongly. Another one who's going to need a pitch early on, Tony. Switches to trap 2 in this final, but this was a decent effort in the black jacket.
Yeah, missed the competition, this fella. I mean, I remember seeing him at Hove, and he's always a dog that's had pace, but he was a little bit of a clumsy type when passing dogs. But I mean, Jason's really getting a tune out of him. 4th in the Regency, 4th in the Stayers Classic at Monmore, 4th in the Ledger, and went on to win the Hunt Cup. And he just thrives on his racing. He's the type of dog that you can never rule out because he can quicken at a vital stage of a race, Dave. And you can see, like, he just gets up the inside there. It doesn't go past smoothly as you would like, but I think that's Chelms Cub. He loves to hustle and bustle.
Yeah, he's relentless galloper for sure is Chelms Cub. Right, Racing Room might be at a premium though on the inside early on. We're now going to have a look at Gizmo Smasher, who's a semi-finalist in the Eclipse at Nottingham. Classy over 4 bends. Goes in trap 3 for Lawrence Tuffin. Now this was finishing second in the first round. A good effort here from Gizmo Smasher. Goes in the orange jacket, but I think what's quite noticeable, rows around the first 2 turns very, very tightly and could well take the ground of Chelms Cub and What a Swell Party early on. So we will have a look at Gizmo Smasher. This was finishing second in the first round in the orange jacket of trap 5. Picked up by Droopy's Garden. Unfortunately doesn't make it through to the final, but has been running ever so well for Maxine Locke. But Gizmo Smasher for Lawrence Tuffin, the Toaster trainer, got that early speed, looking to clear the inside and get across in the orange jacket. And as I'm saying, Tony, I think is going to again look for the inside.
Yeah, I like a dog that cuts the bend though, Dave, even if they're like a middle or wide, because it makes the others check up in behind. Unfortunately, that tactic didn't quite work because Droopy's Garden was in pursuit, and we know how well Droopy's Garden stays
But this is going to be Gizmo Smasher's race in the final. Is it a smash out, catch me if you can?
Certainly is, and it could be a blessing. I mean, obviously Connections would have wanted to line up in the Eclipse final, but he was eliminated from the semis. They've entered him for this event. I think they landed a bit of a touch. He won on a one-off Six Bend Open at Oxford, so he's got that early pace, but really does need to win the early battle.
He does indeed, and as you can see, there's more prominent actually in his semi-final run as well, just how tight he is to the rail, particularly at the second bend there, and I think that could be the key to this race. He'll need a fast start to clear the inside draw. Right, we move on then to the outsider of the field, but certainly deserves a mention here, Liquid Lunch, who goes in trap 4, likely to be a big price. Bet365 got this one at 50 to 1 for Tom Levers. A homebred, Beech Grove Bell, of course, a bitch that Tom had plenty of success with, one of the youngest professional trainers in the country and a Crayford trainer, going places. He's got some nice youngsters. Without a winning 6, we're going to have a look at her finishing 3rd in her quarter final, but she'll probably need the race to cut up a little bit. She looks like she's going to stay further than this 650, and if it does get messy, certainly one for full-cast and tri-cast punters to have a look at, Tony.
Yeah, Liquid Lunch, something you're partial to, I know, Dave, but look, was pitched in the deep end, but hails from a decent litter. The Beach Babe, the litter sister, contested the Savage final at Crayford, and they're still learning the ropes. I mean, well bred out of Droopy Sydney Beech Grove Bell, but again, just lacks that vital yard of early, and I'm not sure at this stage of his career he's ready to be claiming the scalps of some of these that are in the race, but no doubt he's got a bright future, this fella.
Absolutely. It's a big price there. Liquid Lunch. What a good luck to Tom Lever's owner trainer. Right, we move on then to Silver Spring Ria, who's another one who seems to be improving. Has raced over further, but early pace is the name of the game here, I think, with John Mullins' charger. And we're going to have a look here. Winning her quarter final, and this was a fair run as well. 40.13 was the winning time on a track graded 90 slow. Fast start is absolutely crucial here, because I think without leading, Silver Spring Ria could be up against it. Yeah,
she's the youngest in the final. You forget that she's younger than Liquid Lunch. She's had quite a few races, 16 races. This was her sole success, but she had been running well. Connections had obviously knew that they had a decent youngster on her hand, because they'd tinkered with her over distances, 4 bends, extreme marathons, less extreme marathon over the 714. But yeah, this was a good run, Dave, and even in defeat she'd been running well.
Yeah, picked up by Chelms Cub in the semi-final last week, but another one looking for a fast start. And then we get to the favourite then, Antigua Sugar, Towcester Juvenile Classic winner for 12 times champion trainer Mark Wallace, soon to be 13. Can Mark cap off another fantastic year with Antigua Sugar? I think the cold conditions, the testing conditions have been against Antigua Sugar, and we're going to see her winning here first round of heat, but in quarter-final and semi-final, Tony, she's led and faded quite badly late on, I thought.
Yeah, again, probably, if it was summer, she'd probably be bouncing off of the faster conditions, Dave, but she's always had the stamp of being a staying type, but she won the juvenile over the 500 metres at Towcester, was very impressive in that dual distance event at Monmore, but this is what I like about Oxford. There's no hiding place, and although she's done the business in this particular race, she has found it stretching her stamina in quarters and semis, but she's got class.
Yeah, I think she was the anti-post favourite for this competition. I'll bring in the draw and the betting in again with the 365's prices. You'll see that she is 5 to 4. Would she be a lay or a play for you, Tony?
I'm going to be against. I mean, you've got to take into account, this not necessarily the final we all expected. We had Havana Lover, Savannah Reenarts in this competition, and it just goes to show that's what makes this sport so great. Nothing's ever set in stone, Dave. I'm going to be with What a Swell Party. I just think that she's a nice sized bitch. She's 30 kilos, and I like the manner of her win. If you look at her run behind the Chelms Cub, she got a little bit of traffic in that particular race and was only beaten 2. She tore to the drop the other night. I think at the prices, What a Swell Party could indeed be one.
Absolutely. Well, there you go. Good draw on the inside. I am boringly going to be with the Jolly here, though, although I think Antigua Sugar's probably going to go off nearer to 2 to 1 than even money, currently at 5 to 4. I think if you just hold fire and make sure your bookmaker is best odds guaranteed, I think away and gone, and as I mentioned a little bit earlier on, I think Gizmo Smasher could be the key to the race. Coming over to the rail at the turn, there could be trouble, and Antigua Sugar might just be away and gone. That is, of course, the Bet365 Challenge Cup final at 4 minutes past 9 on Friday. Festive Friday here on RPGTV. Of course, no horse racing, so it's all about the doggies on Friday, 4 minutes past 9, £10,000 up for grabs and RPGTV live for 12 hours, 10 till 10 on that Friday. Right, we will move on then. We're looking forward to Friday, but we're going to look back before we look forward again. Try and stay with us. We've picked out a moment of the year each. I think it's fair to say that Tony's is a little bit more original than mine is, but we'll start with Tony's because I've asked you to pick one out and you've come a little bit left field, but I like it because you've gone with Rising Coco winning the Ladbrokes Kent St Ledger, which was a local winner, but it was a hell of a race and a hell of a run.
It was, and it wasn't that she just produced it in the final, Dave. She had upstaged the big guns in the semi and people was thinking, nah, that was just a flash in the pan from the local. And you've got to take into account the opposition. Belmore Sally, so impressive when winning the Golden Jacket earlier in the year, and this was Rising Coco. Jim Reynolds got a tune out of her in this competition for sure. She's relentless. I mean, she's won over 380 metres, 540 metres, 714 metres, and local knowledge can prove key on many occasions. But it wasn't just the local knowledge, it was the pace that she put to the race throughout. And like, you've got to take into account the opposition she beat. She beat them in the semis, and she's gone and chinned them when it mattered most at massive prices in both races.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the field. Belmore Sally's in 3, Blueberry Bullet in 2, Burgess Hannah in 4, Burgess Elite in 5, and Bombardier in 1. Sent off 10 to 1. Didn't run like a 10 to 1 shot, so that was a great performance there. Winner of the Ladbrokes Kent St Ledger. Mine is a little bit less original, as I said, than Tony's. I've gone with the superstar of greyhound racing, Space Jet, winning the TV trophy down at Hove, the Coral TV trophy. I think in the last few years, Tony, we've seen 3 exceptional stayers that should go down in history as some of the very best marathon performers. Roxo Magic, Iams Royale, and this lady here, Space Jet. To be good enough to win a St Ledger over the 7:10 at Perry Bar, that was of course last year, and then step up in trip and just look even better. She tracks smartly, she bides her time, she's happy to go inside, outside, and she stays forever. The better she goes, further she goes, the better she looks. I thought this was just an incredible moment, a good field, and she's absolutely destroyed them.
She's got an engine. I mean, that's, as you touched on, winning the Ledger, the way she won the Ledger, pulled clear to the pickup. How many times we said, can't wait to see that go up to 8 bends, but a lot of times it doesn't come to fruition. They don't stay. In Space Jet's case, the further they go, the better she is. She's just relentless galloper. I think she's seasonal, obviously keeps her off the card, but when she comes back fresh as a daisy, she's as good as ever. We could have picked a load of dogs, Dave. There were such good performances throughout the year, but I just think with Rising Coco, it wasn't just a one-off. She done it twice and when it mattered most.
Well, we've looked back on our favourite moments of 2022 in this RPGTV Festive Friday preview show. We're now going to have a very quick look forward then at the big one, the 2023 Greyhound Derby. Now, it's probably a little bit too early to pull the trigger for your anti-post bullets, but we're going to look at some of the big contenders, and as ever is the case at the turn of the year, Tony, we don't quite see some of the Irish big guns coming over at the head of the betting. They'll no doubt be there come sort of April, May time. We're going to look at 2 UK-based trainers, greyhounds, who have stolen the headlines, one more so than the other. We're first going to have a look at Kullavani Shadow. Now, we're going to go back and look at the Matchbook Maiden Derby heat win here for Patrick Jansen's charge. We all know this was a big money purchase, and he's suffered some shocking defeats since this, but there's no doubt in this dog's pace and ability.
Oh, he's one of the fastest dogs in the country without a doubt when everything clicks into place. Obviously he picked up an injury when first arriving on the scene, but the Yarmouth Derby looked at his mercy, and Hopes Paddington obviously denied him big race success in that. He was brilliant in the first round of the Eclipse, then made a mess in the next round. As good as he is, he's the type of dog, if he wins a derby, he goes for unbeaten for me. I think when he makes a mistake, it's a huge mistake. And he's fast. Obviously, you've got to take into account where the track, the venue is for the Derby Towcester. I think it's a great level of Towcester. The run to the turn, the first 2 bends are key, and obviously with the seeding, I wouldn't want to necessarily be drawn bang on a rails. If I had dogs like Coulivanny Shadow, I'd probably prefer to operate from the centre.
Try and get them out the boxes. Right, we'll have a look at the anti-post market, how it's shaping up then. And from what you're saying, Tony, we're looking at from Post to Pillar at 16s, Ballinabola Red 25s, along with Coulivanny Shadow, Ballymacfin, Coulivanny Hoffer, 2 Irish trained stars, 40 to 1 bar. Incidentally, 2 of note in there, Romeo Command at 66 to 1 and Romeo Hotshot at 66 to 1, 2 we mentioned a little bit earlier on when previewing the Puppy Derby. From what you're saying, you're obviously not being drawn in by the 25 to 1 and could be a vulnerable ground in a Derby campaign.
Yeah, no, so I mean, I'd probably look for something that can keep on qualifying, that you can then do a bit of trading come semi-final time. But yeah, from Post to Pillar, Coulivanny Shadow, Ballinabola Ed, he looked unbeatable in the early rounds, didn't he? Ballinabola Ed, and then it went wrong, and that can happen at any venue. But Towcester, I just feel that the margin for error is a lot more important and vital.
Okay, well, Tony mentioned from Post to Pillar, who propelled himself to outright favouritism with most of the bookmakers with this dazzling display just recently at Hove in the Coral Olympic final. Now, it has to be said that I don't think there was bundles of early pace on show in this final. There were 1 or 2 staying types in there, but you cannot take anything away from him. He's done the business, of course, in the puppy collar at Oxford, and he's done the business here in this Olympic. His semi-final run was incredible. Just to qualify, he looks the real deal.
He certainly does. He's a lovely balanced dog. Again, nice sized dog. He's got it all. The only thing, he's not a lid pinger, but he's 3 strides. Once the feet hit the sand, that's when he really opens up. And you can see to the eye, I know he's marked, he's white and black, so it's sometimes difficult to gauge how quick a dog's travelling, but that fella covers the ground. You can see what a stride he's got on him when he gets into a rhythm. Again, he's another dog. He did get beaten at Towcester. That pizzazz wasn't necessarily there at Towcester. He'll probably get better the more looks round he has, but these dogs will put up good runs in solo trials. Give them solo trials, they're going to put up their 29-10s, 29-deads, 29-20s all day long. In a 6-dog race at Towcester, it's a different ball game.
But I did like what we saw in the semi-finals I mentioned. He got it all wrong. He found trouble at the turn. He didn't down tools, which he could have done. He certainly could have done in a good field. He battled hard to keep qualifying, and that quality will stand him in good stead during the Derby, won't it?
And as you touched on now, that's against strong running dogs over 500 metres like at Hove. So Hove is testing. You know, Oxford, he was different speed and showed it, and he's shown it there. And the thing is, he's far from the finish. That's the frightening thing. He's far from the finished article, Dave. Now,
it's not binding, but if I was to press you for one, if you was to have a Derby pick now, who would it be?
I don't see why. I mean, you got to run the track, and obviously last year's winner. I mean, he ran the track really well, got the middle. He's still holding his own in top bracket company in Ireland. You know, if he's up together at Derby time, you've got to give defending champs consideration, because they've been there, done it through a gruelling Derby.
Well, what story that would be. Romeo Magico, of course, winning the first Derby for Graham Holland. Team Holland will no doubt bring the heat again, and all being well, he'll be in that team. Around about 40 to 1 shot, I think. 40s, 50s maybe out there. Romeo Magico. Right, we've looked forward, we've looked back, we've looked forward again, but we will remind you, of course, why we are here. Racing Post Greyhound TV. Festive Friday. This is the preview show, but we are all about Friday, the 23rd of December. There is no horse racing, so it's all about the dogs. 78 live races, 12 hours of coverage from 6 different tracks. Of course, 4 minutes past 9, the £10,000 Bet365 Challenge Cup final. That's our feature. We've got the Puppy Derby in there, open racing in afternoon and evening. The action will be fantastic. Make sure you tune in. Sky Channel 437, Freesat 250, Freeview 264, and of course on the live stream, sportystuff.tv, which is free and live to view. Don't forget, of course, we are on the Racing Post YouTube channel and the RPGTV YouTube channel, so give us a comment below. Maybe you've got a fancy for the Derby. Who do you think is going to win the Challenge Cup? Are we talking nonsense? I'm sure there'll be some people out there happy to add that comment as well. But do like and subscribe to the channels. Tony, it's been an absolute pleasure. What's the Christmas plans? Watching the Greyhound action on the 21st. Of course it is. Of course it is. Thank you for your time and insight. Of course, we're looking forward to that action. Do remember, of course, to gamble responsibly. And more importantly than anything else, have yourself a Merry Christmas. Thanks for watching.